Hello everyone and welcome back to I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. And let's just jump right in and continue where we left off. And see if we can find out how people are dealing with the loss. Ah, there we go. Hi Cal. Yeah. Cal is sitting in your mom's flower garden with his face in his hands. He's clearly been crying all morning, and probably all of yesterday too. He and Tammy were really close. Whenever you guys used to play house in the creche, Tammy was always the mommy and Cal was the daddy. Even though you were just little kids, you kind of always giggled about how obviously they were gonna be together forever, like a princess and a knight. Are you okay? Yeah, he sniffs, looking up at you. You can see how puffy and red his eyes are. I mean, no, not really. That's just what people want me to say, right? Yeah. Tammy always liked these flowers, he mumbles. Sometimes I picked some for her. He runs his hands over the pretty white flowers. Don't tell your mom, okay? You know, I don't think she would care. Tears well up and slowly leak out of his eyes. He doesn't even blink, just stares at the flowers as the tears run down his cheeks. You decide to give him some space. Yeah. Definitely not feeling great about her dying. Definitely should have stayed behind and not gone for the candy, eh? Although I honestly don't know if that would have changed anything, but yeah. Won't stop me from asking. Or wondering. Mars is staring into space, looking somber. She doesn't even notice as you come up beside her and barely reacts when you say hello. I'm thinking about Tammy, she says quietly. She used to sit down the hill there, in that spot in the sun. Every morning she'd just sit there for hours in the sun, doing nothing, just being happy. You stare down the hill to the spot near the entrance to the quarters. You can imagine her there, working on some little craft project, humming to herself. I miss her too. And now she's dead, Mars says, making a face. How's that for fair? Of all the people, how come it had to be my friend? You don't have an answer. You've never heard Mars call Tammy her friend before, but of course she was. Tammy was everyone's scared little sister, even though she was older than most of you. Mars clicks her tongue. Oh yeah, Administrator Seek is looking for you. I guess they need someone to do delivery jobs. She waves vaguely at the door behind her, distracted by her thoughts. Really? They have no one else to do deliveries except for me? Jeez. Command is a warren of long hallways with doors off to tiny nondescript offices. Everyone you pass seems to be hurrying off to something important. The end of one hallway opens into the supply depot, which works as both requisitions office and the general store. Beyond it are cavernous warehouses stacked high with supplies from Earth, now being gradually unpacked and distributed. See, I can't even do that one. So, view the notice board. Colony food shortfall minus 100%. Wow. Colony security rating evaluating. Notice, please wear your masks when out of doors during pollen season. Ambient particulate may trigger runny nose, watery eyes, and mild cough. Upcoming event, we will be hosting our first annual Vertumnalia Festival during the second month of dust. Notice, take precautions outside the colony boundaries. Xenofauna have been sighted in the area. Survey teams are investigating. Current council and administration. Okay, well, Whatever, don't care. Let's just leave. Let's go to class, I think. I'm at 7. I have nothing in organizing. Maybe help Mom? Shoveling dirt again? That will bring me up to 10 toughness. And hopefully spending time with Cal will be good for him as well. Let's do that. That does not work out. I mean, that would help, wouldn't it? Ooh, actually it might, yeah. What? I don't understand what that does. Let's push through. We need to rest. The colony is going to hold a funeral for Tammy. Do you want to attend? If you don't feel up to it, you could just skip it and take the month off instead, or you could get back to work. Of course I'll attend. The colonists gather in the recycling room. Bringing organics down to be recycled here is one of your chores, but you've only come here for a funeral twice. Both times a colonist had passed away from natural causes during the 20-year-long journey from Earth. This is the first time there's been a funeral on Vertumna, and the first time for someone you actually knew. The mouth of the organics recycler has been polished and a wreath of yellow flowers placed over the opening. Inside, you can see a shrouded figure, Tammy's small, fragile body. Tammy's dad, Uncle Tonin, is here, as well as your parents and antecedent. Cal is here with his mom and her partners, already crying in their arms. The room is packed with people, and the feeling of grief is so thick you can taste it in your mouth. Governor Uticott stands before the assembled crowd. There are no words to ease the pain we feel today, she says solemnly. There is only the sad company of those of us left behind to share the burden of that grief. Tammy was our child, she continues, one of the first humans to be born in space. Well, she was an elf, but okay. And the first to die on an alien planet. In her short life, she exemplified the very arc of human accomplishment, bending hopefully toward life beyond our humble Earth. She is the first of us who can truly call Vertumna home. Her passing was as senseless as it was sudden. Losses like this are impossible to hold within oneself, a painful reminder that life is impossibly precious and fragile. But they also remind us, as always, that as a community we are capable of great strength. Uticott closes the door to the recycler. You hear Uncle Tonin sob over the hum of the particle disintegrators beginning their work. As a community, we remember Tammy. As a community, we return her body to the soil that nourishes us. In this way, Tammy, our child from the stars, will never truly be lost to us. The ceremony is adjourned, but a few people stay back to console Uncle Tonin as he keeps vigil over the recycler. Cal and Uncle Tonin hold each other and weep openly. Your mom stays behind to receive Tammy's remains. As the head of geoponics, she'll be responsible for adding them to the colony's precious supply of brown soil from Earth. Your dad accompanies you out of the recycling room. He clears his throat. I want you to know that you don't need to be okay, he says, clasping his warm hand on your shoulder. If you want to take the rest of the month off, everyone's going to understand. Well, I mean, my stress level is kind of high, so sure, let's take the month off. Yep, late pollen. The prospect of just going back to school like everything is normal is too much to handle. You end up spending the whole month alternating between sleeping, scrolling the HoloNet, and staring into space. It's restful, at least, and everyone gives you the time you need to process Tammy's death. Okay. You're in early dust. Hey, Dad. Dust is such a dry, hot season. Both suns are high in the sky, baking the usually lush Vertumnan jungle. If there's a breeze, it's warm and, you guessed it, dusty. Your parents are up every day before dawn, which comes far too early for your liking. They're usually gone by the time you wake up and home after you're asleep, so you have to visit them at work if you want to see them. Good morning, Gooseberry, your dad greets you cheerily. Have you come to see the harvest? Your mom and I are gathering crops from actual Vertumnan dirt this week. Sure, that sounds neat. He shows you around the rows of corn and beans from Earth. They all look a little yellow and scraggly, not what you'd expected, but your dad enthusiastically points out the vegetables ready to harvest. Don't forget, he tells you, the Vertumnalia Festival is coming up. There will be a talent show and a science fair. I'm sure you're eager to participate, Solane. Don't know about that, but sure. Okay. Nothing from Mars. Oh, hello, Tangent. Sure, I'll talk to you. Solane, Tangent says, approaching you with purpose. We need to discuss my brother. Who, Diz? Yes, Diz, she says impatiently. I need you to figure out where he's been disappearing. Ever since we landed, I barely see him anymore. He doesn't even come home at night sometimes, and She trails off and looks at her feet. Well, I'm not on very good terms with my brother of late, but well, people are becoming worried. You get the feeling Tang is the one who's worried, but she doesn't want to admit it. I'll talk to him. He probably won't tell you, Tangent says angrily. Newton's apple, she swears. He won't even talk to me anymore. She sighs. You may have to follow him. I would, but everyone in the lab would know I was gone. No one cares where he goes during the day. Are you saying that no one cares where I go either? I mean, he was over here, wasn't he? Yeah. Hello. You tell Diz that his sister Tangent wants to know where he's been disappearing off to. His eyes flit briefly to yours, then he stares vaguely off towards the engineering wing where his sister is reading on her holopalm between classes. He doesn't say anything. She's worried about you. She doesn't care about me, he says sullenly. Tangent's just worried she'll get in trouble if I don't come home one day. He scowls and picks at the hem of his sweater. She doesn't care about anything but her schoolwork. Just leave him alone. His shoulders slump in relief as you go. Well, I'm guessing that he is sneaking out here because, I mean, he was talking about the outside, you know? Let's go and do class. Let's do humanities, maybe? Yeah, let's do humanities. There's some sort of emergency in engineering that requires Hal's attention, so today's class will be taught by the ship's artificial intelligence, Congruence. Good morning, Congruence chirps. Today we're going to talk about the formation of the Vertumna group and our decision to leave Earth. It's a very exciting topic, and we think you're finally ready to hear about it. Let's dig in. You know how it started. Economic and environmental instability, coupled with deeply entrenched hatreds, had thrown the Earth into chaos. And you know how it ended. In that chaos, your parents formed the Vertumna group with a plan to leave Earth. 20 years later, they and their starborn children, you, slid through a wormhole and ended up here, on a planet you called Vertumna. But there's so much you don't know. Congress pulls up a hollow projection of an unassuming human with a firm maternal gaze. This is Planktonic Ascendance Wangbotha Schmidt, she says, the spiritual leader of the Vertumna movement. They were what people called a speculative fiction writer. The Vertumna project proved that their writing, though speculative, was far from fiction. Wait, a sci-fi author? Yes, Congruence tells you. Their best-selling novel, Life Beyond the Einstein-Rosen Bridge, told the story of a fictional utopia on the other side of the real-life anomaly at the edge of the solar system. Scientists had been investigating the wormhole for years, but it took a poet to imagine we could travel through it. Wangbotha Schmidt's writings centered around the idea of humanity building a technological utopia on another world. Translated to 100 languages, this was a compelling idea to people at the time, so fans started connecting in VertSpace. Far from just a book club, these people bonded over mutual aid amid the increasing unrest in their own countries. They were committed to Wangbotha Schmidt's idea of a future where everyone is treated equally without prejudice. But they realized it couldn't be done online, Congruence tells you. Though committed to social justice, the group saw the impossibility of forming a truly egalitarian society while also reckoning with their own implicit biases and the diverse context of their real lives. They realized that this was the work of generations, and the solutions must look to the future, as Wangbotha Schmidt did. So they got together. The image of a squat concrete building with a rooftop garden replaces Wangbotha Schmidt. Around the edges of the classroom, the holoprojector gives the impression of towering walls topped with razor wire. The first Vertumna colony, Congress tells you. 400 people volunteered to sacrifice their own cultural beliefs to walk through these doors, agreeing to come up with a new way of life that would be taught to their children. Babies were conceived from egg and sperm donors chosen by lottery and raised communally like you as the second generation of the Vertumna group. Those babies were your parents. Well, I mean, in some ways, maybe. So they mixed their cultures. The holoprojection now shows the compound under siege. As more colonies were founded, word got out about the Vertumna group's social experiments, Congruence continues. Assimilationism was an unpopular ideology at the time because it had been used to commit terrible genocides on Earth. This, combined with panic that the Vertumna group was destroying the family unit or raising an army of gene-tech super soldiers, brought the colony under attack from all sides. Everyone fears what they don't understand. The image of the burning compound is replaced with the stratospheric on a launch pad. Luckily, the next phase of the Vertumna project was ready to launch. 100 colonists were selected to leave Earth on a colony ship. to seed a far-flung corner of the universe with a new human culture. She smiles. The ultimate goal of the Vertumna group was you, children, a generation raised completely unburdened by troubles that plagued Earth. Isn't that lovely? What was Earth like when they left? Terrible! Congruence shows you some dire demographics. The institutions that had given people the illusion of safety were torn down and wars were rampant, both resource-based and ideological. Large parts of the Earth were rendered uninhabitable by climate change, pollution, and nuclear war, especially the critical food-growing regions of the world. The Vertumna group weren't the only ones trying to escape Earth, but as far as we know, we are the only success. But how did they build a ship? Orbital voyages were a hobby for the ultra-rich in an earlier century, so there were several relics to be found in museums, Congruence replies. The difficulty was not in acquiring a ship, but in making it spaceworthy and in the logistics of the launch itself. The group crowdsourced enough funding to purchase and repair the ship, Congruence smiles. As for logistics, well, you are speaking to the solution right now. I was acquired by connected group members along with the gene tech that created you and your parents. The Stratospheric was the first manned vessel to navigate the wormhole at the edge of the solar system. Given the state Earth was in when it left, it may have been the last. So nobody on Earth was like us? The Vertumna group members have a unique culture, Congruence replies, but is formed from a combination of many heritages from Earth. Even the language you speak, Esperanto, was invented to bring people together. And don't worry, Congruence exclaims, you brought your best heritage with you. You're humans. Okay. So much information. Your head is so stuffed with ideas it might burst. Professor Hal and your parents never mentioned this stuff before. They waited to tell you because they wanted you to grow up without feeling different based on your genetic makeup or family history. It's hard to imagine having a different culture than your neighbors. You wonder what it's like. Everyone celebrating different holidays, eating different food, speaking different languages. Are you missing out, or are you better without it, like the original colonists believed? It's hard to say, as the decision was made for you long before you were born. All you can do is be the best Solane you can be. Get to work. Okay, well, we have many that are the same, so that's good. Woo! I didn't have to get extra stress. Nice. It's time for Vertumnalia. Udicate and the council have called a festival to celebrate life here on the planet Vertumna. Everyone gathers in the colony square to hear Governor Udicate's speech. In Earth's history, Udicate begins and then clears her throat and waits for everyone to quiet down. In Earth's history, Vertumna was known as the god of seasons, change, gardens, and fruit. It's no coincidence that our forebears of the Vertumna project chose to take on such an auspicious name in the hopes of seeding future bountiful seasons of humanity. We will continue this tradition of Vertumnalia, a midsummer festival to celebrate our Vertumna, this lush planet upon which we find ourselves today. Clap! Everyone cheers and applauds. The members of the council all get up on stage one at a time to give their own short speeches. Governor Udicate announces each one. Yeah, I know. When it's your mother Flulu's turn, she announces that tonight you'll be eating some of the very first crops grown from Vertumnan soil. Your eyes go to the feast table. Aboard the Stratospheric, it would have been mostly soy-based food from the nanoprinters, spiced up with what precious fruits and vegetables could be grown in the small growing bays. This year, the Earth plants look even less robust than usual, but they're supplemented by some Vertumnus plants you've come to appreciate, juicy Watado pods and slabs of edible fungi. Utikit takes the stage after everyone on the council has said their piece. "What is a festival without festivities?" she asks. "Professor Hal and Security Chief Rhett have organized a 3-part competition for the kids. Good luck, children. Which one do you join?" Let's go for the science fair. Tangent competes, of course, entering her study of the ship's hydro-recycling system. It was previously used to make urine drinkable, but she offers that it could now be turned to new uses. Despite how many times she says the word pee, it's still boring, but she put a lot of effort into it. Your turn to go next. The judges are all very interested in what you're bringing to compete against Tangent. Okay. Present your project. Okay. Oh wow, 41. Well, we have 3 slots, so let's do this. Oh boy, I need 24. Oh, that is going to be tough. Well, I don't think that there is any way for me to win this, since I can't use that. Not winnable. Yeah, well. Tangent wins. She accepts her prize with grace, having expected nothing less. Your baking soda volcano was much less impressive than you imagined. It just kind of fizzes, and you don't explain it very well. It's pretty clear your dad helped. Maybe next year. Oh well. After the festivities are over, everyone takes time off for a much-needed break. During the fierce heat of dust, a few days' rest is exactly what you need. You feel refreshed. Okay. This is where I will end this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!